Hello, my name is Vanessa McBurney. This presentation is for my Education 202 class, Section 1. This is a book review for the book Learning to Love Math, Teaching Strategies That Change Student Attitudes and Get Results by Judy Willis, MD. Table of Content. I will give a brief summary and analysis of the book. I will give examples of strategies to use in the classroom and my recommendations of who should read this book. Also, there will be a list of references used at the end of this presentation. Summary. The main topics discussed in this book are how to reduce negativity, reduce stress, improve motivation, and set goals. Reducing negativity. The book gives two main ways to reduce negativity. One is by building students' positivity about math. The other is planning achievable challenges for your students. Reducing stress. You can reduce stress by reducing mistake anxiety and by planning ahead. Improving motivation. You must be actively engaged in the classroom, in instruction, and in activities. You must sustain your motivation and help your students sustain their motivation throughout every activity. The most important thing about improving motivation is to maintain motivation even after the activity is over. Setting goals. You have to make unit goals and incorporate core concepts. You need to make individualized long-term goals as well as help your students individualize their goals. You also need to help your students develop goals that are directed towards learning. Another main point that the book discussed is bringing the real world into math. There were three ways to do this. 1. Increasing individuality. 2. Relate to real world experiences. 3. Use multimedia. Additional information in this book is a list of internet resources that teachers, students, or parents can use, which is in Appendix A. Appendix B is known as the Brain's Owner's Manual, and it discusses how the brain works while learning. There is also a glossary, an index, and a reference section. Analysis. This book is mostly opinion of what the author has experienced in her classroom and what she has found helpful. There is only one part of the book that discusses core concepts, and that is in the Setting Goals section. Willis believes that learning from video games is very important, and in What Makes Computer Games Fun, Malone states that players feel challenged enough and intrinsically rewarded enough to continue an exercise. Motivation is very important to learning, and intrinsic motivation within students is what every teacher should thrive to accomplish. High levels of dopamine help reduce stress, and a group of researchers from Nature Neuroscience have found that high levels of dopamine increase long-term memory storage by creating strong connections in the brain. Increasing long-term memory is also very important for learning. Classroom application. One way to reduce negativity is through group work. Placing students in groups based on complexity levels and on individual students' achievable challenges can help all students feel capable of working together to complete a task. This way, not one student is doing all the work and no one feels left out. Another way to reduce negativity is to have students assess you. Have the students figure out what qualities you should possess and have them grade you on it. An example would be for you to be graded on your organization or your explanation on new material. To reduce stress, give students the opportunity to retest on something they struggled with. Give them feedback of what they missed the first time, reteach the material, and when they feel comfortable enough to retest, allow them to retest. Another way is to find multiple ways to find an answer. Just because you think your method to the answer is the easiest or best may not necessarily be the easiest or best approach for each student. You can also give students problems that have multiple correct answers. To improve motivation, you need to build curiosity and positive anticipation. An example of this in the book is by having students fill a tall, thin container with water, and then have them predict if it will fit in a wider, shorter container. The students' different answers will pique curiosity and anticipation. Once the water is poured into the shorter container, and it fits because the volume of both containers are the same, then your students will be even more curious of how and why this worked. They will be eager to learn more when you build their curiosity and anticipation. Another way to improve motivation is by continual reinforcement. This lets your students know that you care about them and their learning. Help your students develop personalized goals by connecting your learning goals with their personal goals. You can also use effort goal graphs. You and the students can track individual success on their own personalized graphs. Recommendations. I recommend that elementary education and secondary math teachers read this book as well as future teachers. Parents of children who may be struggling in math can read this book to get helpful ideas of how to help their child. The concepts in this book could also be used in general education outside of math, even though most of the strategies are geared towards math. References. The references used in this presentation are listed on this slide. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.